So welcome to Shanti Diva, welcome to Miffi and her Dharma Toolbox. And whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Yes, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day or night it is. So we're on our third class of this demystifying Tibetan Buddhist ritual. And what we've already covered, daily offerings, setting up an altar, altar bowls, what to put on an altar, what not to put on an altar. I was really happy to hear that since last week, quite a few of you have got all enthused to revamp your altar. I know Rachel, who came along, she's put fairy lights all over it. I saw it last night on our Vajrasattva online. And Sheila was telling me she found all these beautiful antique glasses that she had in a cupboard that she's now using as offering bowls. So I'm so pleased to hear about this, that you're really enjoying making merit, making mountains of merit. So we're going to continue along with the theme this week and next week. Now we're going to have a look at mandalas. This week we're looking at the short mandala, what's called the short mandala, but it's a very profound practice. The outer mandala, the inner mandala, the secret mandala, and the Suchness Mandala. And all of it in the palm of your hand. Who knew that the entire universe can be right there in the palm of your hand? So we'll talk about that. And then also when you're saying mantras and using a mala or a rosary, how to use it, what to make it out of, what the symbolism behind all of that is. And then also a little bit about the different tunes, because there are different tunes for different occasions with the mandala offering. And so I thought it's worth talking about that, because then when you go to a puja or a ceremony, you'll know what's going on, you'll know when to join in, you'll know how to do it and have the confidence. And practicing together like that in a group, even if it's online in a group, really makes a big difference. It's so much more powerful. And then, you know, when our teachers come and we offer the mandala to request the teachings, then you'll know what that's all about. So let's set our motivation for today. The two wings of the bird, wisdom and compassion, or in colloquial terms, curiosity and kindness. So in the spirit of curiosity, encouraging yourself to find out. It's okay to not know or not understand or be confused, of course, because we're still in samsara. And the way out is by encouraging our curiosity and really enjoying discovering new things and getting our head around things. And our curiosity can lead all the way to the perfection of wisdom, to the understanding the ultimate nature of reality. And this is what frees us from samsara. And then in the spirit of kindness, well, that's to benefit others, isn't it? We need to be kind to ourselves, yes, but our main purpose in life is to help others, because we're the ones with the window of opportunity. So a spirit of kindness, that the whole purpose that we are embodied beings, that we're in the world, that we have stuff, that we offer stuff, is so that we can benefit others now and into the future, all the way to bringing them all to enlightenment. So to become enlightened for the sake of all, we need mountains of merit. And one of the very best ways to make mountains of merit is to make mandala offerings. So I'll get the screen share up, because I also really like to start with someone like Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And so Rinpoche here doing the short mandala offering, which I've got some more pictures of how to put the hands in a moment. But what's so beautiful about this, I mean, if it's good enough for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, it's got to be good enough for us. And the point of making a mandala is to do with the perfection of generosity. And out of the 6 perfections, the Mahayana practices to lead us to enlightenment, the first one is the perfection of generosity. And it's so important because we need merit to make merit. So what is generosity? Often we think if we don't have stuff, if we don't have money, if we don't have things, or if we don't have food, then we can't practice generosity, and we get very despondent. But that's actually mixing up between the spirit of generosity, which is the intention, and the substance of generosity, which is the stuff. So is generosity the substance or the intention? What's the difference? You know, do we lose anything by giving it away? So actually, from a Buddhist point of view, we get richer by giving things away, because the essential meaning of giving is not giving up the object, but it's actually giving up our attachment to it. And by offering the object, we're releasing our attachment. By practicing generosity, it's the substantial cause for, in the future, having enough resources. There's a Scottish saying too, a shroud has no pockets. So this means, you know, the only things that we can take with us when we die is what we've already given away. We can't take anything else with us. All that stuff that we hoard and hold on to, we have to leave that behind. A shroud has no pockets. So by practicing generosity, it breaks down our resistance to giving and to releasing things. And that's so important, because come death time, imagine that we can release everything happily, and not only that, but offer it, instead of all of our stuff creating real heartache for us. The other reason that we need to practice generosity, colloquially, is to increase our luck or our fortune. So even though there isn't any such thing as luck from a Buddhist point of view, we still use that term. And it's handy to think of it because we need to have the circumstances, everything flowing in the right direction to have success. We need to have luck. So what's luck? It's merit. If we don't have merit or luck, we won't be able to develop bodhicitta. We won't be able to accomplish any realizations. No matter how hard we study, we'll still be confused. We'll try and force ourselves, but we'll still be confused. So actually, the practice of generosity creates the conditions for success. It creates the conditions for all of success, actually success in our studies, in our life in general, harmonious family relationships, and success all the way to enlightenment. So it's a little counterintuitive, this, because often we think, oh, if things aren't going right, then just push harder. If I'm feeling all confused and fuddle-headed, then study harder or work harder. But that kind of head-on approach doesn't necessarily work. Usually things aren't coming together and aren't working because we don't have enough merit. So actually, to make sure that we have realizations when we study, or that we have success in business for our, you know, sponsoring our Dharma practice, or that we have a harmonious, rich family life, any of these things, all the way up to enlightenment, we need merit. And the best way to make merit is with the Mandala offering. So 2 things to remember about Mandala offerings. One, that even though we may start off with a worldly motivation, we can't leave it there. We have to make sure that the motivation is one for liberation and enlightenment, that it's a really big one. It's altruistic. So the goal, complete freedom for oneself and others, not just worldly stuff. Because of course, with just the worldly stuff, as we know, if we just kind of motivate, oh yeah, I want some more money, and you look at people that get more money, who is happy? More money, more worries. So it's not more money that we want, it's actually more merit. And then we can use all the resources that we have. So that's the really important thing, that we adjust our goal, our purpose. And then the second thing is, remember who we're offering to. So I have to admit that for many, many years, I'd happily do my mandala offering and I'd just send the mandala off. And they're probably just all floating around in the sky still to this day, because I forgot to offer them to somebody. So you offer to the Buddha, to the Guru, and you actually, the conclusion of the mandala offering, when you do that offering, is that you see the Guru deity receive the offering joyously, happily, and that completes the action. So for I don't know how many decades, I've just been doing it all wrong. Not a complete action. Making the mandala offering is called extracting the essence. And what is this essence? It's extracting the essence of the whole path, the essence of our life, from Guru devotion all the way up to enlightenment. So that's why at the minimum, we make a mandala offering to request teachings at the beginning of teachings. We make a mandala offering to request an initiation. We make a mandala offering at the beginning of our meditation practice, at the beginning of a study session. It's so that we can extract the essence, the very core meaning and purpose. Okay, so today there's the short mandala offerings, and just so that you can actually get an idea of what a mandala offering with the mudra, the mandala mudra, looks like on our screen share. So this is if you're looking at somebody with a mandala offering. This is the mudra that represents the 7-heap mandala. And what's nice about this is it shows that you've got the 2 fingers in the middle represent Mount Meru, the metaphorical center of the universe. The fingers around the edge represent the 4 continents and the 4 subcontinents of the human worlds. And the mala, or the rosary, draped around here, which goes in between the main continents and the subcontinents, is the Vajra fence, the protection of our practice. And then floating around the top, the sun and the moon on either side. So literally you've got the entire universe here in the palm of your hand. Here it is from our point of view. If we're going to set up our fingers, this is what it looks like. So let's have a go together, and let's do it really nicely and gently. So before you try and get your fingers into this position, relax your hands. So feel as if in your hands is the essence of bodhicitta, beautiful, delicate. And so with relaxed hands at the level of your heart, put your hands together with your fingers back to back. All nice and relaxed, fingers back to back. And then cross over your little fingers like in this picture and hold them down with your thumbs. And then cross over your long fingers, which is at the back there, and hold them down with your pointers. So these are the long fingers and here are your pointers. And what's left is in the middle, your ring fingers sticking up. So you've got a lot of time to get your fingers into this position. you've got the whole verse. So you have your hands together, cross your little fingers over and hold them with your thumbs. Nice and relaxed. Then cross your long fingers over, hold them with your pointers. Also nice and relaxed. And then you have your ring fingers in the middle. And as long as you have your hands in that position by the send off, the end of the prayer, it's 4 lines long, you'll be fine. So you don't have to rush. If you're going to use a mala, the way that you put it together, you get your mala, just string it together twice. Put it over your fingers and then just unhook your pointers. So that gets your mala into the right position. And then when you go your fingers back to back, cross your little fingers over, hold them with your thumbs, cross the long fingers over, hold them with the pointers, then you end up with the mala beautifully draped around in the middle. So before I go on, how are we going, everybody? No? Okay. No good, no good. The key to this is to relax your hands. It's nice to have the mala in your hands because we don't want to offer an empty mandala offering. So you have something in your hands. So the traditional one is to have the mala in the hands. So, yep, Ginger, that's right. So if you just put the mala around all of your fingers and then take your pointers out, that's the easy way to do it. Yep. Then put all your fingers back to back. Then cross your little fingers over. Hold them down with your thumbs. Then cross your pointers over, cross your long fingers over and hold them with your pointers. Now, I've seen pictures of right little finger over left, and I've seen pictures of left over right. And I haven't heard which is which, if it even matters. So I would say do what's comfortable. So you have the whole verse, which we'll do in a moment to build them up. And then when you offer, you kind of lift a little bit up from your heart, and then you tip towards you, and you end up with your hands in the prostration mudra. So you tip towards you and hands in the prostration mudra. So as you tip and kind of send off. So there are 2 meanings. One when you tip away is bringing realizations. The other when you tip towards you is bringing blessings. Or the other way around. I'm sorry, I can't remember which is which. But if you tip towards you, it includes both. So that's why you tip towards you and hands in the prostration mudra. So I'll get the screen back up again so that you can see from your point of view. So here you can see that the right little finger is over the left. So when we offer the mandala, I have a depiction here of, it's from the long mandala offering. What we're doing is that we are offering a pure land. So at first, our vision, what we see, everything is impure. It's hampered by our negative karmic vision, but we transform it into a pure realm. And this actually creates merit to take rebirth in a pure realm. The mandala offering is outrageous and extensive and beautiful and outlandish because it purifies our wrong conceptions. It shakes our idea of reality. And as we make the offering, the Pure Land, all sentient beings are there. They're all taking teachings. They're all just about to become enlightened. and there's a rain of offerings showering down. So it's a really rich kind of land. So this is the prayer. This ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers. So the ground, the Vajra ground. So it's like blue, like lapis lazuli and all sparkly, but soft to walk on, so you never get tired feet. Anointed with perfume, beautiful smelling, strewn with flowers, just spontaneously manifesting out of the air. Adorned with Mount Meru, which is the metaphorical center of the universe here. The 4 continents, the 4 human continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. And so remember who we're offering to, either to the guru there in front of us, or to Tara or Chenrezig or the Buddha, whoever we're meditating on. And by the merit of offering it, may all transmigratory beings enjoy this pure land. So included in this is the short version, okay? So included, you can also put in all the extra things. So of course, for us now, we'd put in mountains of vaccines, mountains of medicines that cure COVID and cure cancer and have no bad side effects, and also the vaccines to the inner contagion. And they're delicious. And we have mountains of them included in our mandala. So we put in everything else that we want. You can add in all beautiful auspicious symbols, whatever you like. So I'll just tell you a little bit more then about the pure lands. So in the pure land, you know, this pure land that we're offering in the mandala, you're not born from parents, but you're born from a lotus flower. You don't have physical bodies that are subject to sickness and old age and things, but bodies made of light that never experience illness. Whatever wished for spontaneously appears. Food and drink are nectar and don't cause attachment to arise. The environment is beautiful, decorated with wish-fulfilling trees. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are everywhere. All the sounds that we hear are Dharma teachings. So the babbling brook is all the Dharma teachings, the lamrim flowing. All the birds chirruping, they're chirruping all the teachings on emptiness. There are bodhisattvas around in the aspect of birds flying, whose songs are the teachings. And there are snow lions frolicking around. So when I read this, I thought, oh, great. This is the Pure Land version of cat videos. You know, even in a Pure Land, they have cat videos. Except they're white, glistening snow lions with green manes and tails and very pink noses and tongues. There are beautiful lotus ponds filled with large, beautiful lotus flowers. The air is perfumed with sweet scents. And there are goddesses everywhere scattering a rain of flowers, and many darkas and darkinis, great practitioners, perfectly perceiving emptiness. So this incredible mandala, you know, you can really, really go to town. You offer to the guru deity, and it dissolves into light and absorbs into their heart. And then as this happens, then light, it delights the guru so much, it delights the guru Buddha, that light flows from the guru deity into you, purifying all hindrances and negative karma. So what I might do is sing the prayer, and as I'm doing it, you can offer the mandala, put your hands together in the way that I showed you. If you have a mala there, then you can use that too. So the umze, the chant leader, Saji porki chushimeto tran riravlinji ni de gampadi sangye jindu mite owai Trokonanda jinla chopasho. This ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine it as a Buddha land and offer it. May all transmigratory beings enjoy this pure land. Idam Gurana Mandala Kamni Atayami. Feel that the Buddha very joyously receives your mandala offering and light streams from the Buddha into you, purifying all negativities. So that's the mandala offering that we're the most aware of, but there are others. So there is the inner mandala, and there's 2 types of the inner mandala. The next one, and it's often in the Nyungne and in other practices as well, is where we offer the objects of the 3 poisonous minds. So what we offer the objects of attachment, of hatred, and of ignorance. And so that means that we're releasing all of our toxic emotions. It's like a rubbish dump. We're letting go of that rubbish dump. We release the superstitious mind, the one that brings all of our complications and unhappiness in life. We can offer these because they can't harm the Buddha, they can't harm the Guru, they harm us. So we release them. So the objects of craving, whatever it is that you're attached to, whether it's your children, whether it's your husband or your wife, whether it's your stuff, you offer what you're most attached to, what you most cling to. If you have attachment to your child, for instance, don't offer just one, offer many of them. If you love your cats or your dogs, don't just offer one version, but offer many versions. If you have craving for food, offer skies of food, skies of Tim Tams, skies of cheesecake. The other thing that we offer is our enemies. Offer all the politicians. Offer all the right-wing fundamentalists. Offer all of the trolls online. And as you offer them, see that they're all there in the Pure Land taking teachings. Imagine Donald Trump and his ilk there at the feet of the Buddha taking teachings, being released from the prison of their negativity. And when we offer, the 3 poisons dissolve into emptiness. Even the names, attachment, aversion, and ignorance cease to exist. So this is the prayer for offering the objects of the 3 poisonous minds. The objects of my attachment, anger, and ignorance, which are friends, enemies, strangers, my body, and resources, without any sense of loss, I offer them. Please accept them well and bless me to be spontaneously freed from the 3 poisons. This is such a powerful practice. And often these 2, in your own practice, if you're doing a daily practice, you do these 2 together. The outer mandala and the inner mandala. The creating the merit and the psychological kind of cleansing. So this is from Lama Zopa Rinpoche. When making the inner offering, it's very powerful to think, as I have offered my body, speech, and mind, and the objects of my 3 poisonous minds to my Guru, how can I ever again use them for myself. From now on, I must use them only according to my Guru's wishes. What does he wish? That I become a Buddha to enlighten all sentient beings. For that to happen, I cannot use these objects to carry out the aims of my negative mind. That would be completely opposite to my Guru's wishes. I'd be misusing my Guru's possessions. So this is what's so wonderful when we offer the mandala. You know, it's no longer ours. And I actually remember Venerable Rabina telling this amazing story about, and as many of you know, she's got this incredible mandala offering set, which we're going to look at next week. A really big one filled with jewels and rocks and crystals and all sorts of things. She'd lug it around from city to city when she was touring. You know, she'd have her little tiny carry-on bag for in the airport, and this enormous mandala set about the same size. Anyway, one day in New York City, she was on the subway going wherever, probably to Shantideva Center or back again, and got off the subway, no mandala set. And she went, oh, my mandala set. And in the same instant, she realized, not my mandala set. I've been giving it away for years and years and years. How many times every day? Not mine. Such a profound teaching there. So we give away all of the beauty and the wonderful things, but we also give away the objects of our three poisonous minds. So it's a way of loosening those negative attitudes. So anything that we interact strongly with attachment or with hatred, we offer. We can then become free of that bondage of the poisonous minds. Okay, any questions yet? Wave at me. Oh, yes, Melissa?
Two short questions. One is, it's fine to visualize all sentient beings around you also offering? Yes,
yeah,
no?
by all means, please do. If you can, yes.
Okay. And they're doing the offering of the mandala also? I'm sorry, Miffi, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, with you. Or you can imagine all the sentient beings in the Pure Land that you're offering, all taking teachings. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And then the other thing is, I also study with this Drikun Kagyu Kempo Sanda Rinpoche, who heads a center in Ohio of Garchen Rinpoche of the Drikun Kagyu. And he recently talked about a way to further cut attachment in general. He wasn't talking about mandala, was to, yes, we offer all these beautiful things, but first we strongly imagine they're ours and we are giving them away. So like a beautiful sky, a beautiful tree. I can ask him, but do you think that works while doing the mandala? That, to imagine it's my pure land. These are my lotuses and dakinis and dakinis, and I'm giving them away.
Well, with these particular things, we don't really have to imagine it because we're already completely obsessed. Like if you've got your dinner there in front of you and you're just about to start eating and someone whips it away, we don't have to imagine that's my dinner. We just know, oh, what happened, So it's whatever is already playing on our mind, whatever is already there. Yep. Anybody else? Yeah, Snay.
Miffi, I love your explanation so much. And I wanted to know if, you've spoken about merit and purifying. And I wonder if you could explain it, just to someone in everyday language, because I find it sometimes very hard to explain to people like what merit means. Or what purifying really means. Just go with
luck. Just think of it as luck. So yeah, go on.
No, please carry on.
So merit is like positive energy. And it's like in playing cards, you know, if you've ever played poker, poker is a very mathematical game. It's not a gambler's game. There's the right move and the wrong move. It's a teaching on dependent arising. But on top of all of that, you also need luck. You need things to go well. So it's the same with our life. Luck or merit or fortune, we think of it as having all of those conditions coming together that we need for things to go well. So we definitely need the substantial cause. We have to have that. But it's not enough just to have the substantial cause. We have to have the cooperative conditions. And that's where creating merit comes in, that it's like we're making an environment which makes it more likely that our positive karma can ripen. It makes it more likely that things will go well. So we all, you know, we have, for instance, the potential to learn to read, but we need to have the luck or the fortune to have a good teacher, to be able to learn, to have books that we like, to have a light, all of these things, and for things to go well. And some people have it all happen really smooth, and other people have a really hard life. So that's why we need merit to make things go well. So, you know, in our Western world, I think just think of it as good luck. But we can harness the power of good luck. And the main thing is that to make things go well doesn't come through forcing things. And I think that's where we get caught as Westerners. Instead of forcing things, we kind of come from this other direction of creating better circumstances, and I think, you know, New Age stuff got it right when they said creating an atmosphere of abundance. That's how things come, not by creating an atmosphere of being tight. And like, as we know, many rich people just accumulate more and more wealth and get tighter and tighter. They have no richness. They can't use their resources. So the whole thing of practice, generosity, of releasing things, what we're doing is we're opening our heart, we're creating merit, we're actually creating this space for all of these wonderful things to happen. So very good question, Sneh.
No, I loved your explanation, and because I like playing cards, it was great.
Oh, great, excellent, good. Yeah, so as an aside, my partner for one of the tours of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, you know, he financed our entire trip to the teachings on playing poker. It was fantastic. Okay, so here's the second part of the inner mandala. And this is offering our body. It's the body mandala. So how beautiful. Your skin becomes the golden ground. So your skin becomes golden light, literally the ground, the support for the practice. Your blood becomes oceans of nectar. Your flesh and all the muscles and everything become flowers. Your stomach, Mount Meru, the center of the universe. Your hands and your feet, the 4 continents. So they're what are they? The 4 human realms. Your head becomes the palace on the top of Mount Meru, which is great, isn't it? Because it is like a house. We always feel like we're there in our head. Your heart becomes a beautiful jewel. Your eyes become the sun and the moon. So when you open your eyes, it's like headlights. Light just streams out of them. And all of your inner organs become wonderful possessions and enjoyments of gods and humans. So medicines, beautiful food. When your stomach rumbles, it's beautiful music. So you transform this ordinary body into a body mandala. Then there's more. So those two, the inner mandala, there's the psychological transformation of releasing those objects that we cling to or are averse to or relate to in a confused manner. And we have this body mandala. Then we have what's called the secret mandala. And this is where you manifest as the deity. So if you have had a tantric initiation, then you can dissolve your ordinary sense of self into emptiness and arise as the deity. So there's an image here of Aryatara. So what you think, you do the meditation on emptiness, and your own Dharmakaya nature manifests as the deity in the mandala, in the Pure Land. So you can kind of think of it as reality, which is emptiness, decorated with pure appearance, which is the Pure Land. So coming from an arts and crafts background, I like that. Reality embroidered with pure appearance. Reality decorated with pure appearance. So you have the two things happening at the same time, the appearance, but it is in essence your transcendental wisdom of non-dual bliss and emptiness. So on one hand, you have the experience of emptiness and bliss, and on the other, you have the appearance, the Pure Land, and yourself visualized as a deity in the middle of it. So this is a very powerful way to practice. And if you have a tantric initiation, then you must include this in your mandala offering, this whole other level of experience. And then the fourth one, the Suchness Mandala. Recognize that the three spheres or the three circles, yourself, the action of making the mandala offering, and the guru deity, are all merely labeled by mind and do not exist from their own side. So the Suchness Mandala is meditating on the three spheres of emptiness. And those three spheres, one taste in emptiness. So subject, action, object. Subject, oneself, the deity. The action, doing the mandala offering. The object, the Guru Buddha. All dependent arisings, all merely labeled by mind. And then you meditate on the emptiness aspect, therefore empty of inherent existence. So this one we can all do. We don't need an initiation to do this. Whether you have an initiation or not, we all meditate on these three spheres of emptiness. So that when you're offering the mandala, you're also offering the pure empty nature of the mandala. So Lamso Rinpoche said, to see that the appearance of a self-existent mandala is like a mirage, or it's a dream. As subject, action, and object are all merely labeled by mind, it's like offering a mandala in a dream. So this practice, the meditation on the Suchness Mandala, is what cuts the root of samsara. Okay, so before we go on to the next bit, that's just all for the short mandala, right? What, anything that needs clarifying there? Yeah, Jennifer?
Oh, thank you so much. This is so helpful and wonderful. I just had a couple of questions. My first is, if we've had a Kriya Tantra initiation, is it still a requisite to do the secret mandala?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like saying, you know, if whatever level of initiation that you have, we've got to use it. Otherwise, it's like having $1 million in the bank and going, oh, I'm not ready to use that yet.
Thank you. And then the other question is, when do we do it? Like, let's say we do the chanting. Do we do it before Idam Guru? Do we do it?
Oh, yes. So the Idam Guru is right at the end. That's offering it. So we do all of these 4 mandalas, 4 aspects of the mandala beforehand, before offering. So generally, if you've got a daily practice, you do the outer mandala and the inner mandala, those 2 prayers, and you do the meditation. In practice, of course, you'd meditate on emptiness first, and then if you've had an initiation arise as the deity, do the instantaneous generation, so that it's a deity making the offering. So that makes it much, much more powerful. Then from then as a deity, you then transform your body into that body mandala, and then meditate on emptiness, and then offer the mandala. And so that as a daily practice, and then if you can do that as well in the mandala offering before teachings, I take my hat off to you. But definitely is the daily practice for doing the mandala. Try and bring in these aspects of the tantric side of things and the emptiness side of things, as well as what we're more used to with the general mandala.
Thank you.
Thanks. Sheila, did you have a question too?
Somebody put in a question that says the little finger is left over right and the middle finger is in reverse for the
Yeah, so I've always done it that the right finger is over the left. I just can't do it the other way.
for both the
so-
little fingers and the middle fingers.
Yeah, and then yes, for both. But I would say do what is comfortable for you. It might be to do with whether you're left or right-handed. There might be some teachings in there about it, but I haven't come across them. And I have seen images or pictures of both, and it might be that Photoshop has flipped them over, who knows. But the whole thing, especially for us as beginners, is to do what comes naturally. There may be a reason behind it, that's okay, but to be able to enjoy the practice. Okay, so then let's just have a little bit about if we're going to do the mandala offering together. For instance, if you're doing Tara Puja, if you're doing a short mandala, or if you're there at teachings and you're all offering the mandala to request the teachings. Now, I know in Shantideva Center, you're not open in person yet, it's all online, but hopefully one day soon we'll all be able to do puja together, offering together. And it's really important that when we're at a puja, that we know the etiquette, but we also know the meaning and the power of it, because anything that we do together as a group is far more powerful. Just like dancing as a group, going to the gym as a group is far more powerful than just oneself alone at home, where you can quickly run out of steam. So at a puja or an offering ceremony, I put here participating at puja. It should just be party at puja, because a puja is a party. It's the ultimate party, and take it from me, I've been to a lot of parties and all of them wore off, but going to puja just gets more and more exciting every time. So what a puja is literally creating harmony together. So we sing together, and when we do, we are creating harmony. It's not just being harmonious. We are actually, as an activity, creating harmony together. And as many people have found out, when we do things together as a group, whether it's singing or dancing or cycling on the Tour de France or whatever it is, when you do it together as a group, slowly your heartbeats begin to synchronize. Your breathing synchronizes. And this is a fundamental way of bonding, of creating a powerful group as human beings. So it is important that we practice together at Puja. So at Puja, there are two main, what are they? I suppose entities that orchestrate the puja: the Consonant Master and the Ritual Master. And for smaller centers, this may be the same person. They may be one person doing two roles, but they are two quite distinct roles. And for many, many years, I didn't realize that until our wonderful Geshe Tenzin Zopa taught us how to do the tunes and how to lead the pujas. So the Consonant Master is known as the Umze. They're the chant leader and they are the conductor. And they are the ones that wield the symbols. And in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, the symbols is the equivalent of the conductor's baton. It's what directs all the action and it's what everybody follows. So the Concert Master leads all the prayers and chooses which tunes to do at which time. And so in here I've put for the Mandala tune, there are 4 tunes that I know of. There's probably more, but I'll give you an example of each of those and you'll recognize them. The Concert Master is chosen, let's see. So for their, I suppose, skill in being able to hold a tune and in being able to pace everybody and hold it all together like a conductor does. Because if you've ever been to a concert where the conductor just loses it and everything just clatters to a halt and people are not creating harmony, or if you have a really amazing conductor, they get all of these disparate elements together and hold them together. And if you're leading puja, that's what you have to do. And sometimes, like, everybody comes with their karma, right? And they're all just all over the show. And I sometimes sit down to lead puja and I just think we're like this rickety old wagon with the wheels falling off, you know, clank, 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 clank. But that's how we are. So a concert master has to be able to pull everybody together. And if someone's singing out of tune, you don't go out of tune. And if someone's out of time, you don't go out of time. And eventually, by the end of the practice, everybody's harmonized. So that's one thing. Then the ritual master represents the deity and is known as the Vajra master. And so at a puja, as long as the ritual master has had the initiation, then everybody else can come along, whether you've had the initiation or not, whether you're a Buddhist or not, doesn't matter. As long as there is one person there who's had that initiation, they are the ritual master. They represent the deity. You think of them as the deity, and they do all of the rituals on our behalf. So let's see. For instance, for Chittamani Tara Puja, the very best would be to have someone that has Chittamani Tara initiation. If not that, then that has a highest Yoga Tantra initiation. If not that, then at least has any initiation. And then if not that, yeah, then probably would be best to have an image of Lama Zopa Rinpoche there as like a virtual ritual master. So these two quite different roles, and often they can be as the one person, but it is very handy if you have, for instance, the concert master who leads all the prayers, and then somebody else can do the long mandala offerings and all of the bits and pieces, the bath offering and things. It can get quite complicated if you're trying to do both. So then the question is, when do we join in? So when do we start singing? And this is to do with etiquette, because you've got to give a chance, especially if you're beginners and it's a beginner's center and the Consonant Master is a beginner, you've got to give them a chance to establish the tune. And don't jump in because you don't know which tune it's going to be. So the answer, when do we join in? It's always the same. This is the answer. There's only one answer, and here it is. After the umze. So the umze starts singing, and then you join in after. So the reason I'm saying this is because I'm the umze here at Lungaring Tampa Centre, and some people start singing before I do, and I'm like, oh, I haven't even started yet. So I'll give you an example of the tune. So this is the tune for the Mandala Offering, the short mandala that we did. And it's called, we kind of think of it as the common tune, but it's the special tune. O Saji Poki Joshe Meton Tram Ravlinji Ni De Gampadi Sangye Jindu Mite Owa Yidra Kunanda Jila Chopai Sho. So that's the special tune. And Lama Zopa Rinpoche said about that it's got this particular feeling of like just trying to reach up. So the tune carries you upwards and it creates this momentum. Then there is the requesting tune. And so this one's much more elaborate, and it happens usually at the beginning of a teaching or a series of teachings, or at the beginning of an initiation. And it has this, what I call the ooh beforehand. And it's very difficult for women to do, and I can't do it. But when the guys do this, they do that harmonic singing, whoa, where they create a harmonic sound within their mouth. And that starts off the tune. And it is a meditation on emptiness. So, to the best of my ability, O Saji Poiki Joshim Hetoitram Riralin Gampadi Sangye Jindu Mite Owayi Droikon Nanda Jinla Chapasho Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kamniyatayami. So that's the requesting tune, and it's a really beautiful one. It's a little bit tricky. I mark up all of my tunes with little wiggles and dashes and pauses and whatever. It's really brings your heart into alignment. These tunes, you know, many of these tunes come from the Dakinis. They come from the Darkas and the Dakinis. They're direct from the Pure Lands, and so they do something to our mind. They do something beyond words. And then sometimes, you know, at the beginning of teachings, there's the mandala offering, and then at the end of teachings, it's customary to also offer a mandala. But as we know, at the end of teachings, we're running out of time. So this is when you may not even realize the mandala started and it's already almost over, because they go, oh, okay, everybody, let's offer a mandala. Saji poke joje meta tra re rablin jini de gempa di sange jindu mite oagi droko namla jinla chopa sho idam gurana mandala kamniatayami. Done. Already standing up, ready to go. So, you know, it's worth keeping in mind what these various tunes are. There's also the other tune that I sung right at the beginning, which is actually the Thanksgiving tune. So the Thanksgiving tune at the end of teachings, or I sometimes do it for the last mandala, you know, the 4 mandala Tara Puja, Chittamani Tara Puja. On the 4th mandala, I use this Thanksgiving tune. So this is the thanks one. Saji poiki joshe meto trari rablinji ni de gyampa Sange jindu mite owai Trokonanda jin lai joy pasho idam gurana mandala kamniatayami. So the reason why I wanted to talk about the Concert Master and the Ritual Master is there's all these different tunes. And if you start singing at the same time as the Concert Master, how are you going to know which tune they've chosen to do? It also means that it gives if the Concert Master, the Umze, is relatively new to the job, it gives them a chance to establish the tune before they fall off. So I just noticed someone asked about learning the tunes. I would say learn the tunes by doing them. It's like, you know, with nursery rhymes, no one ever sat down and studied Incy Bincy Spider and wrote it all down. You just sing it. You just sing along. You sing along as best as you can. You do a bit of a Mr. Bean. You know how Mr. Bean goes, hallelujah. So, you know, with the Mandala Offering, we just do a little, we know a tune there or a bit of a verse there, and eventually it starts coming together. But it's a holistic practice. It's not something we do with our eyes or we study. We're embodying it. We're in concert together, creating harmony. So it's by doing. Was that out? What else?
Miffi, there's another question somebody asked. Would you please, is it possible to hold your hands in Mandala Offering higher so we can see how you release the end and end the offering?
So I tip towards myself. Just tip towards myself and almost go like sending off, and then as hands in the mudra of prostration at the end. So the way to do all of this is you think what you're doing. So you tip the offering pour towards yourself and then release, send the offering out, and then it will happen naturally. So, oh yes, there's going to be a perfect pitch course. How wonderful. So of course, all of my prayers are in Shrine, and occasionally we have someone come from Bhutan or Nepal or something, and here I am leading the puja with an Australian accent. It's very, very embarrassing, but you just do the very best that you can. And I've also found that it's as long as whoever's leading can actually lead others, whether they're in tune or not, whether they've got pacing or not, doesn't really matter, because what we're doing is we're leading from the heart. So if you have a choice, I would go for the leading from the heart rather than the perfect pitch, because it's to do with the meaning. And eventually the pitch all comes together. You get enough people singing, they end up singing harmoniously. That said, I've always had a very interesting time at Lungri Tumpa Centre because traditionally I've been the only one that can hold a tune, and everybody else, including all of our Sangha, have been tone deaf. So I've been surrounded by weird and wonderful tunes, notes, sometimes associated with what I'm singing and sometimes completely off. And so it's made my focus really good. So I can hold a tune now regardless of what everybody else is singing. And then eventually, if you're strong enough, then everybody actually just does end up singing together. It's really lovely. So in terms of, oh yeah, Melissa, you have a question?
Yeah, real quickly. Thank you, Miffi. This relates to the question the person asked about when I need some clarification. When we do the mandala with these four, outer and secret suchness, is it sequential, or if we can, I can't go straight for the Mahamudra, the suchness, because that covers all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, it doesn't have to be sequential like I explained it. In practice, actually, you meditate on emptiness first, you arise as the deity, then you do the outer and inner mandalas, and as you send them off, you also think of the suchness. So yeah, the order of practice goes a little bit differently. And if you don't have an initiation, then you wouldn't do that bit either. So as long as you remember emptiness, that's the most important thing. Okay, so I've got some beautiful photographs then. This is Kopan and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, they're on the throne. And so this would be at teachings with Rinpoche. And so here, I think that would be Geshe Churni. And he's the ritual master there. So he would be the one leading the prayers, leading the Mandala offering to request teachings. And then here's a photograph of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So this might have been at some other puja because he's there on the side, so he's not at the front giving teachings. But you can tell he's the Vajra master because he has all of the stuff on his desk. So he has the bell, the dorji, the damaru, the little drum, and the inner offering. So generally the Vajra master will have all of the bell and dorji and everything there. And as you can see here, then there's just a couple of others that have the bell and dorji. So they would be the choir, the backup band for the umze. So in a monastery, of course, in the olden days, they didn't have microphones. So you'd have the chant leader and you'd have 3 or 4 others that would also be able to back them up when they needed to breathe. And so they would be the ones with the bell and the dorji. But the whole monastery doesn't have bell and dorji at puja. Can you imagine if you had 2,000 monks all ringing their bells at once? You'd go deaf. So in a Dharma center, sometimes everybody has their bell and dorji for practice purposes, so we can get some practice in. But traditionally, it would just be like the senior sangha and the chant master. Also, who the chant master is, the Vajra master would be at the top, would be, the most senior or the one with the initiation. The chant master might be way down the line here somewhere in terms of ordination, but they're the ones who are actually leading the puja as chant master. And like I said before, they have the symbols that leads the puja, and then the drum comes in afterwards and the bell and dorji come in afterwards. All right, so now a little bit more about the mala or the rosary, because, we have the mala when we're wrapped around as the Vajra fence when we're doing our Mandala offering. And having a mala or a rosary is really powerful because it combines body, speech, and mind together. It helps our concentration so our mind doesn't wander. And generally you'd have a mala that has 108 beads. The 108 represent the 108, what are they? The overcoming the 108 cognitive obscurations to omniscience. So it's a Mahayana thing. You try not to wear them as a fashion accessory. If you're going to wear them under your clothes. You can, I suppose, wear them on your left wrist or carry them in a little pouch. If you do wear them, try not to take them to the toilet. It's like a mindfulness practice. There is the mantra here to bless your mala that I've put up, Om Rutsiramani Prabhataya Hum. And so you hold the mala at your heart in the prostration mudra. And as you recite the mantra 7 times, then you blow on the mala. Now, if you've had an initiation, you arise as the deity, and the deity recites the mantra and blows on the mala. So it's the deity that blesses the mala, or your wisdom realizing emptiness that blesses the mala. So this increases the power of the mantras that you recite 10 million times at least. Om Rutsiramani Prabhataya Hum, 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 Om Rutsiramani Prabhataya Hum. So it's the speech that then you blow onto the mala. So the mala, generally you have it so that you can recite the mantras by feel, that you never have to look. And so that's why you'd have a counter or a marker bead that's bigger, or if it's not bigger, that it's a different texture so you can tell when you come to it. And usually they're at 7, 21, and 28. And sometimes they're also halfway through at whatever, 54. Then the guru bead at the end, and that usually has 3 holes, like one on either side and then one here. Some of them have a knot that is adjustable, but you want it so that you can fit your fingers in between each bead so that when you're counting it. And then there are also here these counters that are like a Tibetan style abacus. So I'll show you those as well. I've got some counters here, this Tibetan style abacus. And so you can actually count to 10,000 if you have a mala. So a mala, you just count as 100. When you've done 100, you put one of these beads up here. When you've done 200, another. When you've done 300, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000. So it's quite a good way to count. Your mala can be out of wood. Different materials mean different things. So what they do is they remind us to meditate on different things. So if you have a mala out of sandalwood, it's like an all-purpose one because it smells so beautiful. The smell represents enlightenment, the purified mind. And sandalwood apparently is very difficult to harvest. It's very gnarly. There's lots of thorns. It's really, really difficult to harvest. And yet it has this beautiful result. So that's like our mind. Bodhi seed malas are also all-purpose malas because you can remember the qualities of the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree. If you have a bone mala, it's to remind you of death and impermanence. This life is limited. if you're doing Nyungnes, it's very nice to have a crystal mala, quartz crystal or lotus seeds, because the Nyungne is in the Pema family, the lotus family. Then you thread them on, I mean, depending how tricky you want to get, it can be 9 threads, but at least 2 or 3 threads, and can be, traditionally I think it's red, but can, if you've got a crystal mala, maybe white. But what's good of having several threads through is that one thread will break first, and then you'll see the little end sticking up and you'll know, oh, it's time to rethread my mala, before everything breaks and beads go everywhere. So with this mala, I've threaded, I'm not sure if you can see, but I've got some nice colored crystal beads representing the 5 wisdoms. And one of my marker beads up here, another one for 7 here, and one for 21 up here. And this one's out of sandalwood. So that when you're reciting the mantras, generally you hold the mala at your heart. So not out here, not on your knee, not at your crotch, but at your heart, because we're trying to, when we're meditating, we're trying to bring all of our focus to the heart area. Now, if you're going to be reciting mantras for quite a long time, then it might get tiring to have your hand at your heart the whole time. So start off with your hand at your heart, and then when you get tired, then you can put your hand on the knee, and at the end up with it at your heart. But at least always start off there with the energy or the focus there. And generally you hold the mala in your right hand over this top finger. So it's not to do with whether it's right or left-handed, but it's to do with whether it's mother tantra or father tantra. And so most practices that people start off with would be father tantra. And so you hold it in your right hand at your heart. And these 4 fingers represent the 4 means of taming sentient beings: peace, increase, power, and wrath. So normally it's peace. So it goes over this top finger. That's how we're taming our mind, with peaceful means. So it's your heart over the top finger, and then you pull each bead towards you with your thumb. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. And there's some very beautiful visualizations that you can do with this. So, which I'll get into in a moment. Sometimes then, if there is a different way to recite, it will be in the commentary of that practice, or you will have the teaching from the Lama how to recite them. So for instance, for White Tara practice, Khidra Rinpoche taught us, when you do the Tara mantra, you go all the way along, and when you get to the Guru bead, you don't keep going, you turn around and you go back. So it goes backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. For Vajrayogini practice, you actually hold the mala over this 3rd finger, and that can be quite difficult, and in the left hand, and that can be quite difficult to hold like that. So you start off like that, and then you go back to what is more comfortable. So it's very much according to what practice that you're doing, but generally it will be the right hand over this top finger at the heart. Then there's a way to recite mantras. So I've got here this picture, you know, of a sparkler. So when we're reciting mantras, we're actually supposed to say each syllable individually. And we may be tempted that as we're reciting Om Mani Padme Hum, it goes Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 until it becomes one word, and it's a little bit like the sparkler going into one continuous sound. But when we're actually starting off with reciting mantras, or if we're doing a retreat where we're counting the mantras, we actually have to enunciate each syllable. That's called verbal recitation. And then if you're doing Yungnays, they'll talk about the concentration in fire and the concentration in sound, and that's where the mantra becomes this one continuous sound. But mostly for us, it's important that we enunciate each syllable. So there's this really nice verse from Pabonka Rinpoche, Lamrim Chenma, the Lamrim, how to recite. So not too fast and not too slow, not too loud and not too soft, not talking whilst reciting, no wandering mind, not adding words or losing words. So not too fast or not too slow means that we enunciate each syllable. Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum. And that your lips are moving and that you can hear the sound. Not too loud and not too soft. Because it's verbal recitation, we do need to hear with our ears, even if it's just a little bit under our breath. If we're alone at home, then it's fantastic to say them out loud and bless the environment, all the beings seen and unseen. If we're in retreat, we may drive our fellow retreatants insane if we're reciting at a different pace from them. So Geshe-la said, recite so that your collar can hear, but your shoulder can't. It's so nice, isn't it? Not talking whilst reciting or no wandering mind means not doing other things whilst reciting, not watching television or not reading. And not making the syllables long or short, not losing words or adding words, meaning that we have not just mindfulness but awareness, so that we don't lose a syllable in the 100-syllable mantra, or we don't start off saying one mantra and end off saying another mantra because we're delirious at night and really tired and doing our mantras just before we fall asleep. So verbal recitation, you know, enunciate each syllable and just nicely quiet. Okay, there's a question there. Is there a question from anybody? No. Then, oh yeah, Inika, go for it.
This is probably a very basic question, but when do you actually do mala recitations?
Okay, so as beginners, when we do, say, our Shakyamuni Buddha meditation, we'd set up our altar, we'd do our offering bowls, light some incense, do some prostration, sit down, say our preliminary prayers. Refuge, bodhicitta, 7-limb prayer, Mandala Offering. Then we do the meditation on the Buddha, and you know, the Buddha surrounded by all sentient beings, Shakyamuni Buddha there in front of us, made of light. Light streams from Shakyamuni Buddha, washing into you, purifying. So you have that real experience of the light, and then you recite the mantra. So you might do that 3 times, 5, 7, 10 times, meditate for a little bit. Then again, golden light streams from Shakyamuni Buddha. You feel that light, you absorb all of the enlightened qualities. Then recite the mantra. Taya ta om mune mune maha munaya swaha. So if you're at home, it's really nice to sing nicely and slowly. Taya ta om mune mune maha munaya swaha. So you do a few, and then maybe you do 5 or 7 like that. Then you can, under your breath, Taya ta om mune mune maha mune soha. Taya ta om mune mune maha mune soha. Taya ta om mune mune maha mune soha. Taya ta maha mune soha. Maybe you do 21. And then the third part for the Shakyamuni Buddha meditation, then the Buddha melts into light. This light absorbs into you. Your body, speech, and mind become one with the Buddha's holy body, speech, and mind. Radiant, spacious, Dharmakaya nature. And then spontaneously you arise as the Buddha. And now you do the activities of a Buddha, emanating and absorbing lights. So you send out the lights to sentient beings, relieving them of their suffering, bringing them to enlightenment, and then the lights absorb back into your heart. And again, that's when you do the third mantra recitation. So that process with the Shakyamuni Buddha meditation is fantastic for everybody to do. And it is the same process that then when you go on to have a tantric initiation, you'll be very familiar with this process because it's the same all the way through. So great question, Inika. Okay, so then for counting mantras, there's several different types of counters. There's the little one up the top here that's like a wrist mala. This is out of Bodhi seeds, lotus seeds, by the way. They're white with the little black dots. They're becoming more and more rare. So these this lotus seed one, generally the wrist malas are there to help you count. So if you're counting prostrations, you have the wrist mala over here. And each time you do a prostration, you draw a bead across. These counters here with the little thing of the dorji and the bell, that's like the abacus that I showed you, and they go together. And you can either have them on your mala or you can have them separate on your desk. You can, of course, use a pen and paper. That's perfectly legit. And there's the modern version, the finger counter that you do for counting pedestrian traffic, and that's also great to use when you're doing prostrations. Really excellent, though you've got to make sure that you wear it on your left hand, because if you wear it on your right hand, you can be tempted to press the go back to the beginning button, in which case you have to go back to the beginning. So generally you only count whole malas. You count 100, even though there's 108, you just count 100. If you're doing very long mantras like the 100-syllable mantra of Vajrasattva or Vajrayogini mantra, you could try to get to the halfway bead. And then, okay, so the wrist malas, the counters, the boom counter is this little metal, aluminium or so, little bent thing that might be put, you might see it somewhere, just one of them hanging off one part of the mala, and that's every 10,000. So 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40, 50, till you get to the end, then you've got 100,000. And to end, here's Chen Rezig, Arya Chen Rezig, using his mala. So if it's good enough for us, then it's good enough for Chen Rezig, isn't it? If it's good enough for Chen Rezig, it's good enough for us, sorry. So each time that Chen Rezig uses his mala, what does the Buddha of compassion do? What's the activity of a Buddha of compassion? Using the mala. So each time Chen Rezig pulls a bead across, he draws a sentient being out of suffering. Is that beautiful? So also when we're reciting Om Mani Padme Hum, each time that we pull a bead across, we can imagine that a tiny miniature Chen Rezig made of light hops from that mala into our heart. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, continuously blessing our heart, absorbing into us. Each time that we pull a bead, we can also think, if we've had the initiation, we've arisen as Chen Rezig, that we're drawing sentient beings out of suffering. So drawing each being out of suffering, holding in the right hand at the heart, drawing the bead towards you with the thumb. Miniature Chen Rezig, made of light, absorbs into you, blessing your mind, completely invigorating you. what's so nice too about that picture of the mala is often they're depicted as a figure of 8, like the infinity symbol, which it is, because saying the mantra cuts across time and space. It has the power of infinity. It is the continuous activity of a Buddha, but also it's like a what are they? Self-perpetuating machine. You know, it's an activity that generates its own energy. So it's not like you run out of energy, because you emanate the lights and you absorb the lights, emanate the lights and absorb them. So it's actually what a deity does. They don't need to breathe because they don't have flesh lungs. They've got a body made of light. But how a deity breathes is by emanating lights, liberating beings, absorbing all of the lights coming back from all those liberated sentient beings who've turned into Buddhas. That makes all of the mantras at the heart even more radiant, sending out the lights again, and so on continuously. So any last questions before we finish?
I have a question.
Yes, Ginger.
I was just thinking about if I did a whole lot of prayers, mantras. I have arthritis and like degenerative discs that don't, joints that don't work very well. So is there an alternative to using your thumb? Another way to use a mala that, like, could you hold it differently if your thumbs are hurting?
I think just try and start off that way, and then just do whatever is going to be comfortable for you. And it's just so that you actually use the mala, because it becomes like a very powerful prompt in a way. And if you do retreats, or even if you just hold the mala and you've got a different way, like a thumb drive or something, but you know, after so much activity on a mala, they can become precious objects, holy objects. And certainly the malas of our gurus are so powerful. Like Geshe Lama Konchog's mala, he could just touch you with his mala and you'd be cured of disease. So our mala too can become like that with practice. So just do the best that you can. It's in the using of it. So you just use it however you can.
Thank you.
And I mean, you don't have to say the mantras very fast. You know, if you can just say a few mantras, then sing them nicely and slowly. Bless the environment. The beauty of singing a mantra is that it literally resonates in your body. So it harmonizes your body, speech, and mind with the meaning of that mantra. So just say them slower, and then you'll be able to use it like that.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, Melissa?
I just wanted to share with others and the woman who just spoke. I'm disabled in a lot of ways pretty badly. And I asked a teacher about this, and I just wanted to share it. And he said, even if you can visualize, or exactly what you said, Miffi, even if you can sing beautifully. And he said, if you have to drop the body in speech, this is really about mind and the intention of mind. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And as we do more of the mantra recitation, there are different levels that go from more coarse to more subtle. So often the more coarse recitation is verbal recitation, and then that sets up this resonance in our mind and a habitual kind of sound within our mind. So then it becomes mental recitation. And then that becomes even deeper yet, where you have the concentration in fire and the concentration in sound. So you're right, it goes from using our physical body and speech then to the mind. What's so nice about the mantra is that it's very easy to recite, even though our mind might be jumping around everywhere, but by reciting it helps to focus our mind. But you're right, there is that progression. Yeah, Jennifer.
Thank you. Hopefully it's a quick question, but you know, Rinpoche's morning mantras, the Om Samvada Samvada Vimana Sadama, those ones. So usually in the morning I have very little energy and it's always a race against time. And so sometimes like, you know, I'll recite them while walking around and getting ready
Yep.
for the morning or doing my shower. Is that okay? Or should I really be like,
Yeah, it's fine.
doing-
However you can do.
Okay.
So, you know, I think as beginners, we just get going whichever way we can, and we're going to be a bit tippy. It's all right. So try with the thought to we're striving to perfection, aren't we? We're striving for enlightenment, but we're not enlightened yet. So just like with a mala, it's one beat at a time. So with our life too, it's just step by step by step. In the worldly way, we just say just 1% progression each time. Just aim to be 1% better today. Not 50% or 100%. Just aim to be 1%. Just like each mantra, and just like if you do knitting or crochet, you know, it's just one stitch at a time, and over time it starts becoming something.
Thank you.
So so that's really wonderful. We've you know, we talked about the short mandala and how to use our rosary. So let's dedicate that by talking about these amazing practices. We can utilize them. We can utilize this power. We can create mountains of merit. We can please our gurus, delight the minds of our gurus, and receive their blessings and be able to take the essence of this fortunate human life. So let's dedicate for our own enlightenment and that of all sentient beings, and may we be the ones to bring them out of suffering and into lasting happiness. And then next week, we're going to look at the long mandala offering. And so if you can, if you don't have a traditional mandala set, I thought I'd bring along some of the, you can get a cheapy one. So these are just $2 shop cookie cutters. They're plastic, and I've stuck $2 shop little diamantes onto them. 1, 2, 3. And then if you get some form of shell, now I didn't have a shell, I've actually got a glass blown shell, and that becomes the Dharma chakra in the top. And then a saucer as the base. So come along with those 3 things next week, because we're going to learn how to use them, and it's going to be confetti everywhere. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming along. I hope to see you next week.
Miffi,
Thank
I just
you.
wanted to say you have the most charming accent when you chant. And I am tone deaf, but I could actually feel all the differences in the mantras in my body when you were chanting.
Thank you so
It
much.
was really, yeah, and all your insights into how to visualize and how to, you know, just a symbolic meaning. I was just thinking, like in my daily sadhana practice, it feels like so much richer.
I'm
Thank you.
so happy to hear that. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you very much. You know, I love singing. I found it helps my mind, and it really helps guard against anxiety and depression, and those tunes, they bless your mind stream. So we'll do more of those next week too. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so
Miffi.
much,
You're
Miffi.
wonderful. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
Thank you all.
Thank you so
Till
much.
next week.
Bye-bye.
Mhm.